just come off this terrible outing, right, where he just got destroyed. I think he gave up like 5 or 6 runs or whatever.
Was that the game against San Diego, you think?
Yeah, against the Pods.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, when they gutty little Pods swept them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they swept them in 2 games, you know.
Yeah, whatever. Still a sweep. Okay.
Broke out the brooms on.
But, I mean, you know. But he was bad, right? And look, he's still not pitching great. He didn't pitch bad yesterday, though. 4 1/3, 1 earned run. You know, did I?
5 strikeouts. I don't think anybody at the Dodgers cares if Clayton Kershaw goes more than 4 innings, 5 innings. They've got him on a pitch count. He had 81 pitches yesterday. I'm sure that everybody was very happy that he had 5 strikeouts. And when he left the game, he'd only given up 1 run. So I would think that Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers are probably pretty happy with his, what I would call, progress.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And I don't think it's bad considering it where he's been, you know, injury-wise this season. And the argument they were having last week was like, well, how many starts are you going to give him? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, dude, you brought him back. You got to at least see this through for at least 5 or 6 starts and see where he's at. Because by 5 or 6 starts, going back to last week, now you're getting into mid-September, okay? Early to mid-September. So at that point, if he's not ready to rock and like be a starter or even an opener, right, for a game, then at that point you just have to put him in the bullpen or not put him on the playoff roster at all. So like, to me, this is what you do. You just got to give him 5, 6 starts, in total, and just see what he looks like and make the decision there, because you need to give yourself some time as a team to have continuity. Because the Dodgers, look, there's so many things that have gone wrong for them this year, and some of it out of their control. Obviously, Freddie Freeman's child and what that poor kid has gone through, your heart goes out to the family and the kid, obviously. But beyond that, which is, again, completely out of their control, and injuries are out of their control to some extent, obviously, for sure, too. But, like, the injury bug has hit them hard. But Mookie's coming back next week, supposedly. And I need to see what Kershaw looks like, because I think that the rest of the team needs to understand what their roles are going to be come October. Because I think that people underestimate in baseball that matters to some extent, and I think to a much larger extent than most people give it credit for.
Well, here's what I would say. If we look at this season right now, and the Dodgers have played 114 games so far, you have the second best record in the National League. Mm-hmm. And the Phillies, who you'll play tonight, have one more win than the Dodgers have. And when you really think about the season that the Dodgers have had so far, you've mentioned it. Kershaw, this is only his 3rd start last night. Walker Buehler tried to come back. That was a disaster. He's gone. Chances of him coming back, I don't see it. Okay.
Yeah, Slim and none. Slim went on vacation.
Right. Mookie got hit, broke a bone in his hand. He hasn't been back. He'll be back, like you said. And nobody knew at the start of the season that when Mookie would come back, he'd be coming back to shortstop. In other words, he wasn't supposed to be the shortstop at the beginning of the year, and they're so desperate at shortstop that they're going to bring him back and put him right back to shortstop. Nobody knew about what was going to happen with Freddie, to your point. Max Muncy hasn't been seen for the last 70 games or whatever number it is. And the young pitchers who showed a lot of promise last year, they've regressed, or so it seems. And yet, with all of the things that I just listed for you, and I'm sure there are others. I mean, I didn't even mention what happened last night with Gratterall. With all these things that have gone wrong for the Dodgers, they have 66 wins versus the Phillies, who have 67 wins. They have the second best record in the National League. And by the way, that could change tonight with a victory over Philadelphia. So for all the things that have gone wrong, look how this team still finds ways to grind out wins. Now, don't sleep on Arizona, which I slept on all year last year, right, and then they made it to the World Series.
Going into tonight, they were tied for the wild card.
They are now 3.5 games back. They were playing a doubleheader today. And I'll say this, and you guys can give me all the crap you want. Don't sleep on the Padres either.
No, they're in the mix too. They're right there.
The Padres have not been this close to first place in 15 years at this stage of the season. So with all the things that have gone wrong with the Dodgers, look out for Arizona and San Diego. That was
It's
a mic.
hot take.
It was a mic drop right there.
I was
That's why. If you notice, I gave you room there.
Yeah, let it breathe a little bit.
I respected the pause. Yeah.
Let it breathe just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, Kershaw, here's my opinion on it, George. You didn't expect him to come out having not pitched the entire first half of the season and having had an injury. You didn't expect him to come out and pitch a complete game. And even in his second start, you didn't expect him to be back to who he was. And then in his third start, which was his best by far, you know what? He left the game 4 2/3, gave up a run, had 5 strikeouts. You know what? He did his job. And then the bullpen blew it all up. So for me, I hear what you're saying, which is, hey, give him 5, 6, 8, whatever number it is. You're right. Your chronology is right on. Because here we are, and it's August 7th. If he has 3 or 4 more starts, we're going to get into early September. My expectation is, assuming he's healthy, Clayton Kershaw is going to work himself into what I'll call playoff shape as a starter, assuming he's healthy. That's what I think is going to happen.
But to me, right, I got to see mid-September what he looks like, and then I'm making a decision. And then from there, I got to start getting my rotation ready.
Well,
right?
You know what you really need?
And by the way, the rotation, the bullpen, the guys in the lineup, I got to make sure everyone is in position to have some semblance of continuity, even if it's just 2 weeks heading into the playoffs.
You know, the Dodgers could find themselves in a desperation situation where they're like, well, Kershaw hasn't really been great, but you know what? We haven't gotten Yamamoto back. Buehler never came back. These other guys aren't really, top level. They did go out and make a trade at the trade deadline, but they may be desperate by the time it gets to the postseason. Based on all the, because I didn't even mention Yamamoto.
Right. Yeah, right. Yamamoto still hasn't come back. Right. They are in a weird spot. There is no question. And there are teams chasing them that are within striking distance. So it'll be fascinating to see how it all kind of breaks down. But I do think that, at least from the Kershaw perspective, you need to kind of make a decision here over the next couple of weeks as to what that's going to look like. Like early September, I need to know if he's going to be part of this thing or not, because I need at least a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, even if you can, of just guys knowing what their role is going to be moving forward.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I mean, listen, it goes back to 2 years ago, 2 basketball seasons ago. LeBron probably missed, of the last, call it 20 games of the season, he probably missed, like 10 or 12? And then as you had about 6 or 8 games remaining in the regular season, remember, the Lakers had made all those trades. And so, it was like, you got to get LeBron back and you got to get him integrated so that the team knows whose role is what and who's going to be available and who is. And that's the year that they went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to Denver in 4 straight.
Right.
So I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think Clayton Kershaw will make this decision for the Dodgers very, very easy. He's either going to pitch well and go back to being Clayton Kershaw, or he's not, and they're not going to have him.
All right.